Let me share my screen. So we have almost done a lot of topics on ASA. If you remember, we started with basic configuration, and then the last lecture was on failover. And in failover also I showed you active standby and active. But I told you that I'll be showing you more on failover because that is very important. So if you remember last time we did active failover. So today is just a continuation for active failover because it's already delayed and you people joined very late. No one was there. And you must be knowing that I have to go early. So I will just finish active failover topic, which I did in the last session. So today we are again going with active failover. And let me just connect to this ASA 1 and ASA 2. Keep yourself mute. If you remember last time, we created two contexts. One is HR and one is IT. We did VLANs 10, 20, 30, 40. This is this. HR LAN, IT LAN, HR server, IT server. Both were having demilitarized zone. Both were having inside. Both were having outside. We also took the IP addressing as 192.168.10.1, 20.1. Okay. On ASA. Then we configure active. So for doing active failover, you have to first configure security context. You know what is security context? Virtual firewall. Now the goal in active failover was like, ASA 1 should be active for one context, or he can be active for many contexts. It depends. Like suppose example, I'm creating 10 contexts. So if I'm having 10 contexts means 10 virtual firewall, or you can say 10 departments. Now, out of these 10 virtual contexts, or out of these 10 security contexts or virtual firewall or departments, I can separate them with different firewall. Because see, in this scenario now I am having two physical firewall. And this physical firewall is having, say, 4 or 8 interfaces, physical interface, which has to be allocated to this context for outside, for making outside, for making inside, for making demilitarized zone, for failover, that is land-based failover, for stateful failover. So in this scenario, if you see, I am having E0 being given for both the contexts as outside. Only one physical interface given for both the contexts. E1 is given for inside, but E1.10 and E1.20 is given for another context. So the goal in active-active failover is when you create a context, you create multiple virtual contexts, security contexts, and these contexts, whether it is 5, whether it is 10, whether it is 20, any number of contexts that you create can be handled by these both firewalls, physical firewalls. So ASA1 in our case will handle, say, example, I said 10 contexts are there. ASA1 will handle 5 contexts and ASA2 will handle another 5 contexts or another 5 departments. So the load is getting balanced. Okay. Because the ASA1 is also working, ASA2 is also working as an active. Both are active. That is why there is a term called active-active. Different from what we studied in active standby. In active standby, one guy is active, another is only just a standby, which is not a scalable solution or feasible solution. In case if the company is having 2 boxes. But in active-active, we are utilizing both the boxes at the same time for different contexts. So last time when we configured 2 contexts, we divided our contexts. HR context, we gave it to ASA1 and IT context, we gave it to ASA2. If you remember, we configure the term called failover group. When we configured failover group, we specified that yes, ASA1 is going to act as a primary, ASA2 is going to act as a primary for group. But I told you, we have to configure everything on ASA1. So I created 2 groups. One as a primary, one as a secondary. Definitely, preemption has to be there in both the groups. Because in active standby, what was the requirement? That only one firewall is going to become active. So ASA1 initially becomes active because we said failover LAN unit primary. And ASA2 becomes standby because we went there and said failover LAN unit secondary. So one is primary, one is secondary. So ASA1 becomes active, ASA2 becomes standby. But so in case if failure takes place, ASA2 becomes active and ASA1 is in failed state. But when he recovers and when he comes back, he will become standby. It's okay now. Only one at a time is going to work. So why we need switchover? Why we need ASA1 should remain active every time? We can keep ASA2 also active. In case if ASA1 fails, who is taking care? ASA1 fails, ASA2 is taking care. So let ASA2 remain active. Let ASA remain standby. Nothing happens. Both are of the same caliber. Both are having the same memory, interfaces, RAM, processor, model, everything is the same. License. But when we talk about active-active failover, we want ASA1 should take care of a few contexts, say 5 contexts, and ASA2 should take care of another context, another few contexts. And in a situation when failover takes place, ASA1 goes down, all the 10 contexts will be managed by ASA2. Definitely. That is failover. No? If ASA1 goes down, his 5 contacts and ASA2's own 5 contacts. That means altogether there are 10 contacts being managed by ASA2. ASA1 is totally down. That is what? Failover. So now ASA2 is having a responsibility of both things. It happens, if some like mom is not well at home, so the dad has to take care of everything, like food also, cleanliness also, kids also, everything. But initially what happened, if she's okay, if the mom is healthy and she's fit and fine, she will take care of food, she'll take care of the kids, and dad is just going to relax and watch TV after finishing his job. But then if something happens to the mom in the family, everything comes to dad. He has to take care of the kids, he has to take care of the cleanliness, he has to take care of the food also. Definitely, he might opt for Zomato or Swiggy for doing that because he wants quick, quick food. He don't want to cook in the kitchen. So here in this example, I'm trying to tell you that boss preemption is necessary. Why preemption is that? Why preempt command is necessary for groups? Because in case if ASA1 come back, I don't want ASA2 should handle the load of all the 10 contacts. I want him to give back ASA1 his role of being an active for group 1. So when I use the word preempt means I tell ASA1 that boss, if you're not working, if you're down, it's okay. ASA2 will take care of all your contacts. But when you come back, you are not in standby position. You are definitely you have to come back to active position for all the 5 contacts you was handling. Because this is just a timely action. We don't want the load to be continued on ASA2. Same preempt applies to ASA2 also, because here also I don't want ASA2 fails. ASA1 take load of all the contacts of ASA2 and he remains active for both the 10 contacts, like 5 contacts is own and another 5 contacts of ASA2. Okay. I want ASA2 should take back the role of active for second group. That is why even when I went on, when I created HR context, I said, let ASA1 take the load of I want ASA1 take the load of 5 contacts he was handling as a failover group 1. Okay. So I hope you understood the meaning of preempt. Preempt means I'm telling ASA1 or ASA2 that if you're down, it's okay. Your job will be handled by any of these ASA. But if you come back, you have to handle your own contacts. You have to remain active for your own specific groups. Now, you must be thinking that what is the role of the contact? Context is just like you're making a separate virtual firewall. It is not necessary that how many contacts you create. You can create 5 contacts, you can create 10 contacts. But sometimes somebody asks me a question that if I create 5 contacts, then how I'm going to divide it? Simple. You can give 3 contacts to ASA1 and 2 contacts to ASA2. You cannot give 2.5, 2.5. It is not mandatory that you should divide equally the contacts. And how can you divide 2.5, 2.5? So yes, one fellow will handle 3 contacts, another fellow will handle 2 contacts. If you're telling me there are 7 contacts, then one fellow can handle 4 contacts, one fellow can handle 3 contacts. Any one you can choose to handle. So whichever contacts you tell to handle by ASA1, those contacts will be handled. That is why when I created the contacts, I think I lost the configuration of the contacts. But anyway, that's not a big deal. You can just see and we can create it once again. Okay, so when I say show contacts, I can't see. So I say contacts, say HR. And then I say allocate interface E1.10 E2.30 and definitely E0. And then I say config URL this 0 hr.cmc. So more. If you already have the file, you'll get it back. Same way, the contacts IT, same interface. So 1.10, HRLAN, 1.20, 30, 40, all these things are there. So when I go to contacts HR, change to contacts HR. Okay, no issue. We'll do no failure. Okay. Now I'll go to change to contacts HR. Interface E1.10. IP address 192.168.10.1. 255.255.255.0. Standby is 192.168.10.2. No such name if inside interface E0 IP address 20.1.1.255.255.0. Standby is 20.1.1.2. Okay, then interface E2.30. IP address 10.1.1.30.1. 255.255.255.0. Standby is 10.1.30.2. Security level 50. Show interface IP. Route outside 00.20.1.5. See, End to end is ping. Access list 110 or in out dash in permit TCP any to host 10.1.30.2 or 10, I think. Okay. So 30.10 equal to 20 equal to 80. And I want ICNP. Access group out dash in interface outside. Change to context. Good. We can take this. Twenty, 40, 20, 20, 40, 40, 3, 4, 40, 40, 40. See? So my job is done. Now I'll do what? I'll go to context HR and say you have to join Failover group 1. I will go to IT. So it is up to you which context you want to join which group. It is not mandatory that it should be in sequence. You can do odd even numbers. You can take any context and put it in any group. So now I'll do what? Failover. So when I say show failover, I can see My stateful failover is also up, but I am active for both the units. This unit is a secondary unit. So when I say show failover, I want this unit to remain as a secondary unit or managing context IT. He should be active for. Now this is the correct output. Failover is on, unit is primary. Failover interface, LAN-based failover interface is up. And if you see, okay, one more thing, if you see, it's not monitor. So what we have to do, change to context HR. And then you have to say monitor interface inside, outside, and DM. Now when I go here, change to context IT. Say monitor interface inside, outside, DM. But see, they are telling boss, don't do it here. Go here in IT and do that. Monitor interface inside, DMZ and outside. Change to Cisco. Now when you say show failover, you can see they are all monitored. And 7 interface is just trying to sync those connections. Only HTTP traffic never gets synced. So for that, I think you say HTTP. Failover. Replication. HTTP traffic. Okay. So it's telling no effect. Now they removed it, that issue. Now just because it comes under TCP, it will start sending TCP connection, HTTP connection also getting replicated. This is in the new version. So when I say show failover, you can see I'm active only for group 1 and who is there in group 1? In group 1, if you see, it is the HR context. If I say, if I go to ASA2 and say show failover, you see, not here, change to system and say show failover. Now you see, I am standby for group 1, but I am active for group. In fact, you just now saw, no? When I was trying to configure monitor interface on ASA1 for IT, he said, no, sorry. Now, what I wanted to show you is change to context HR. Now, suppose R7 try to do telnet from here to 10.1.30.10. And when I say show access list, I can see there's a hit here. Of course, I need a route on R1 also. I go here. So IP is out. 1 and 2 is HR, 3 and 4 is IT. So route is there. Okay. Again, you see the heads are there. And when I say show connection detail, you can see hello. Okay. So I was just telling you that if you are configuring failover on both the ASA, active failover, then you have to be careful that how many contacts you are going to make and how you're going to make this context part of which group, because ASA1 is going to manage group 1, ASA2 is going to manage group 2. ASA1 is going to remain active for group 1 and ASA2 will remain active for group. This is how both the firewalls is going to manage these virtual firewalls or these contexts, and failover will work smoothly. The advantage you are getting in active failover is that you are making both the firewall work simultaneously and handle the load. It is not just one firewall acting as an active, another firewall is remaining as a standby. It is both the firewall who is acting, active and working. This is the beauty of active failover. So whenever you have this kind of scenario or this kind of setup, you'll definitely have active setup commercially or in industry if you go. Okay, until unless Cisco stops making ASA boxes, and definitely I told you the new generation firewall is already there. That is FTD, Firewall Threat Defense. But still, I just gave you an overview how this topic works. NAT, third channel, DHCP, failover. Okay. So what we'll do? Okay, I hope you understood this. Okay, let me just send the traffic to this guy also. Can you see here? UIOB connections. 172 is trying to reach. But just because there is a stateful failover between them, the connection is being synced between both the firewall. But if you try to create any access list here, say out dash in permit IP any, suppose. See, configuration replication is not performed from standby unit. That means for IT, ASA1 is acting as a standby unit, not the primary unit. And same thing if you try to do on HR, the access list, some some name, permit any just dummy. See, when you go on ASA2 and try to configure any access list for HR, you will say, sorry, it is very difficult. No, replication is not performed from standby unit. That means ASA2 is going to act as a standby unit for HR context. Getting it? Now, and suppose ASA1 goes down. Let me just save the configuration. Always remember, for saving the configuration, go to system and say write mem all. This will save all the contexts configuration. System, HR, IT, everything. And now if I stop it, try to ping, suppose 10.1.30.10. Let's see how the things take place. Still failover must have not taken place. Okay, good. So now when I go here and say show failover, you can see on ASA2 for both the context is active. See? Where I'm trying to ping 30. Okay, where I'm trying to ping 40. So 30 is also pinging, 40 is pinging. Clear? Active. Now what is the significance of preempt? I wanted to show you. This fellow come back. Let him come back. Let it boot. This router is not working. That's why I lost the connection. Now you see. Hold standby means he will gather all the updated information. We'll find out all the updated information from ASA2 because he has just come up. Up till now, ASA2 was acting as active. So he will just try to gather those information. Still, it is syncing only. Normally, it syncs fast. It should come up. Now, see, he has become standby for both the units. But just because of preempt, he will become active once again. See, because of preempt command. Why? I told you in the beginning only, in the theory, that just because I gave preempt, he has to come back and handle his position of active for group 1, standby for group 2. And now you see earlier both he was active for both. Now you see he has become standby for group 1. It takes some time. So now both is going to sync the latest configuration. ASA2 will inform ASA1 about all the updates, everything, and then it will go. So this is the end of active failover, guys. I hope you understood. If you have any question, you can ask me. Any doubts? So tomorrow onwards, we'll try to do some other topics. Like I might start with VPNs. Okay. Join on time because I have very limited time because of Ramadan. So be careful. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Bye. Take care.